Hi, y'all. Let's talk about parent-child relationship dynamics. Parents, you are the first God that your child will ever know. Therefore, you have such a significant and powerful role, and your role consists of you showing that child who they are by the way you treat them and by the way you have relationship with them, and you also the way you guys have relationship with one another. So I get it. A lot of times the relationship fall apart. The child is stuck in the middle. A child should not be stuck in the middle. You guys chose to have a child with each other. They should not be stuck in the middle. The child should not hear the other parent vilifying the other parent, tearing the other parent down. You may have some factual information about how that other parent is absent, their disappointment, they're inconsistent, they're negative, they're emotionally abusive. All of that may be facts. That child doesn't need to hear that. That child doesn't need those seeds planted about how to feel about the other parent. And unfortunately, sometimes the custodial, well, all of the time, the custodial parent has to bear the burden of the responsibility by comforting their child, steaming their child, letting the child know, sorry, daddy disappointed you again. It's not your fault. Just be positive as much as you can. Pray for strength. Pray for guidance. Seek a support group. Talk to adults about it, but don't drag or destroy the other parent in front of the child. I work with children and families, and I'm telling you, there are a lot of kids with anxiety and emotional issues that stem from the parents' toxic relationship dynamics they have with each other. I have a personal experience with it where I felt like I was caught in the middle as a child in between adults' relationship challenges. And what I will tell you, I always say that you don't want to make a child choose between, the other parent, because it could backfire on you. Unfortunately, my father passed away when I was like 17 and a half. And so although, my mom may have had feelings about certain things, but guess what? Due to his untimely death, it woke me up and had me resenting her. She didn't kill him. Cancer did that. However, it brought on so much feelings of, guilt and a lot of other emotions that a 17-year-old shouldn't have to deal with, right? And so I only say that to encourage parents. You don't know when the other person may be called home. Like, for instance, we see 50 Cent and his son going back and forth, trying to hurt each other and things of that nature. I don't know the story. I don't know the details. But what I do know is that it's heartbreaking to see. And I know that no matter how much money you have, money can't raise a child. If you don't have a relationship with your child, money ain't going to be able to do it, okay? But what I also know is that, God forbid, if 50 Cent was to be called home today or tomorrow, that is going to impact his son times 10. And it may just cause him to resent his mother. I see it happen so many times. You can deny it, even if they're disowning each other, even if they're saying they're not related and doing the most hurtful things to hurt each other. Guys, we have to do better as individuals. Parents, you have to do better as adults. You know what having unresolved grief is like, because there are people who are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s and 60s who are still heartbroken from things that happen between their parents, who are still having relationship struggles because they have not unpacked the grief, the guilt, the shame, the anger, the resentment towards their own parents. So we know that this stuff affects us into adulthood. So why aren't we doing any better to kind of reduce that, to get ahead of it, to make sure that our children are not growing up angry? You all know that this youth, they're a different breed, right? If they're mad at a parent, they're gonna speak it. They cussing their parents out. They're violent. They're aggressive. You know that they're not playing any games, right? They're doing stuff that we wouldn't feel comfortable doing back in the day. Okay, so I say all that to say, please be mindful how you have a relationship with each other as parents. Please be mindful of what your child hears you saying about the other parent, because even if you tear the other parent down, that other parent is still a part of your child. So that is going to affect how they feel about themselves and the relationship that they have to have with that other parent, because they were created by the other parent. So they're going to want to have a relationship with the other parent, whether you like it or not, whether they continually disappoint that parent or not. I have seen where mothers are like, that father has never been around. That father is this, that father is that. And guess what? That child still want a relationship with their father. That child still will put it to the side and yearn to just have time with their father. Not buying them anything, but just time, a conversation, just acknowledgement, acceptance, knowing that although you and my mom are not having the best of relationship, you still love me, that you're not taking it out on me. You're not comfortable with just sending child support every month and don't give a crap about me. You're not missing my birthday. You're not taking out whatever your issues are with my father or with my mother on me as a child. So I'm only saying this to say that we have to do better as adults. You have to do better as parents. Break the cycle. Break the cycle, because you're teaching your children how to deal with conflict. You're teaching your children how the parent relationship is supposed to be. So don't be surprised if you have a young daughter in her 20s or 30s who's starting a family, and the same old things that you went through with her father are starting to present themselves and show up. It's all a cycle until you unpack all these things, deal with them head on, and decide, I'm going to create a different future for myself and my children. I am going to have a different relationship pattern with my child's father. I may hate him or I may hate her, but guess what? This child doesn't deserve to see that type of toxic energy being exchanged between us. Give your children something better to look forward to. And for the adult inner child that are still dealing with their parents' unresolved things, my heart goes out to you. I love you guys. I'm only sharing this because I want to see better for our people. I want to see more peace and more love. A lot of times our children are just struggling with so much because they can't really verbalize to their parents what's going on. And even as adults, still struggling to communicate what their real feelings are. So at some point, we have to really look at what's going on, call a thing, and see how we can make it better. All the encouragement in the world is not going to help if you have a hardened heart towards your mother or father. Again, they're the first gods you know. And I feel called to work with people who have challenged unresolved grief and challenges with their parent-child relationships. And I have an awesome story of the journey of me and my mother's relationship. And we are in a much better place, but it wasn't always like that. It took a lot of prayer, a lot of tears, a lot of grief, just a lot of different things that have gone on over the years, until I had to just acknowledge. My mother told me when I was about 12 or 13, she said, Wendy, I'm not changing. You do know that, right? That woman meant what she said, y'all. She meant what she said. And so it's not until in my 30s I had to realize, hey, I got to let some things go. I have to grow through it, and finally make peace with it and just say, I accept her as she is, where she is, and she's going to have to accept some things about me where I am and as I am, respectfully. I don't disrespect my mother at all. But she understands that our relationship dynamic is very different, okay? Very different in a positive type of way. Because the word of God says, honor your mother and father, your days should be long now, okay? But also, parents, you have to understand that the word also says parents do not provoke your children or break their spirits, because you will discourage them. That means that you will harden their hearts, okay? Don't do it. Don't do it. Be about love, be about kindness, and be careful how you treat one another, because you're teaching your child about your feelings towards the other parent, who they are and who they are not, and it's going to impact them emotionally for a long time to come. Break the cycle, y'all. Toodles.